Hello and welcome. As it is the 14th day of November 2017, my name is Derek. Let's take a look at some altcoins, hashtag crypto trading. We'll start with Bitcoin Cash. And I've said this before, I'm going to say it again, and I'll be saying it again in the future many times over as we move into December in 2018. When these things go, these cryptocurrencies, they go. And you're going to notice that what they lose, they will gain back in a much quicker duration of time. For if it loses a certain amount over 5 or 6 days, there is nothing out of the ordinary for it to get it back in a day or day and change. If it loses whatever amount in 30 or 40 days to get it back in 5 or 6, so be it. That's what the markets do. And be in position to be able to play for such things. Well, if it's happening, well, that's what you need to do. So with any code, you have to ask yourself, okay, what would be a normal good area to consider getting sales if this thing really goes off? Where am I going to put myself in the best opportunity? I don't want to sell out where I sell all my Bitcoin Cash in here, and if I want to buy back now, it's going to cost me a lot more. Okay, that to me is a winning mistake. Where if say you bought in here and you sold for a profit, keyword profit, that you made a mistake, and that you cut whatever you got for profit, you could have got some more. Well, so be it. That's part of how this game is played. But when you realize big moves can happen and you put yourself in position back in here, whatever you sold here, you could buy back in here. No problem. No problem at all. And what I like to do is if I go for basically short-term selling, and this is what short-term selling is. This is a 720-minute time frame, half day on Bitcoin Cash, which goes pretty much from the start of its duration. But if I can buy here, oftentimes I'll sell at previous high. Easy sell. Now if I were to buy back, if you're expecting a higher low, that's pretty much where you should have bought. But if you weren't, or a deeper higher low, you missed. Several days in here, if you missed that buy order, for you to rebuy back barely above previous high, which is what I do sometimes if I miss the buy order in spot like here, is I'll readjust it a little higher. There's where it would get hit. That's the reason why I would do such as well. And then if, assuming you had your buy order hit the first time though, and you had a sell order in here, when you see the market moving like this, it becomes a terrible place to sell, because when you look at the pattern before it broke, and I'm not saying it because it's the green candles follow after it, but when you have multiple hit levels like this and this kind of ascending triangle pattern with this level of resistance be supported twice like this, it's not a surprise that it happens. Now, what would have been or could have been a surprise is that it jumped from the handle south of 0.095 and went up to 0.42 for making a save play is, okay, I was going to sell here. Instead, I sold here. But if you already had other sellers in place, where would you realistically been looking to sell? Myself in here, because that's a previous congestion area, maybe a little bit higher towards this level as well. But once we get past this little area in here, there won't be any selling until previous high, which is here. It's a little bit below, so selling here would have been in place and selling here. Now the question is, if you were to post a sell order north of previous high, where do you go? I don't go a little above. This would have been a conservative sell number for me. Now I myself did sell it at, I think it was close to 19. I think I sold it. That's where I think maybe 20, I can't remember, but I did sell out and I had to rebuy back at 20. But given that a move from 20 to 42 is a little over a double, and a move from 20 to previous low is a little more than double, it's pretty much right in the middle of newly established all-time high resistance and the last key breakout point on this time frame. I don't know which one will come first, but I don't mind buying a little here, maybe a little here, and a lot here. That's the plan I got. Let's take a look at LSK, which this thing looks like it's maybe ready to get going. It might be a good day trade. I'm thinking this for myself right now, just buy now, as it looks like it's breaking this level of resistance as well as this one here. We can see we came up to this point, come back down. To me, this looks like a very good buy. I'm going to have to see if I even own this. And if I don't, I'm going to buy it. I do, and I got sell orders in at 129, 144. I'm looking at this 129, see if it's... well, I can see why I put it in here. But I might want to rise it a bit. I think it can... That's pretty tight and low. Let me take a look at this on a higher time frame and see market potential. But I would like to see, yeah, let's say the daily chart. And I'm looking at this and yeah, you know what? I think that this thing is poised to have a decent sized move. I'm going to adjust my sell orders probably here. Previous high. And now I'm trying to figure where do I want to put my third and final sell order. Previous high is at 17,000. I always expect it to double it and better. 40,000, I think. So 13, 17, and 40. Now apparently Mercury is up pretty big. I've never remembered even looking at that chart before. But let's take a look at it. And that's why. So when we take a look at this chart, we can see a clear pattern of a beautiful that has resulted in so many. Okay, you can't get anything out of this other than it just started. Some volatility. It rose to this 100 handle down to 28. Definitely day tradable if, wow. So what you need to do is shorten it out. It's down 95% from its high. I'm going to start off with the 1 minute time frame and just roll the dice and expect it to be volatile. And not what I expected. However, I think one thing of note, and when I see a situation like this, and the opposite's true for selling as well, you have a big push down to a low like this that manages to get back to its trading range relatively fast. We can see it had this type of symmetrical shape formation, but regardless of the fact, it rose up pretty quick. When I see this, and I see a support level of this kind of nature that has been held for quite some time, I often think that if it's going to break, not only do I know where support should come into play, roughly around here, that I could expect this area to be a level of resistance as well, which means buy here, sell somewhere up here. That's the basic thinking philosophy that I have. Within the risk reward, well, if you sell there, the reward is simple. You'd be selling at about 28.40ish. You'd be buying at about 26.75. That's a difference of 125 plus 40, 165ish or so. So you're looking at about a 6% gain. That's not that great. I'm sure the risk is pretty high. Let's take a look at this on a different time frame and see what's happened a little bit clearly. And the reason why I didn't see that volatility is because we're seeing all of this on the 5-minute time frame. And originally it had its big pump, support comes in, and right now a major key level of support here at the area where I didn't really like to buy too much on the risk reward. I wouldn't touch this at all with a 10-foot pole unless I knew something on the contrary, on the fundamentals, to seek otherwise. Let's move on to EMC2, which is in an interesting situation. I don't know what the correct play here is as far as if it's a good risk reward play to buy now, realizing that when these things go, they can go. And this thing has, well, it went good, but you can see this broke well above the 18, and it's decently above the 18 now. But it broke the 18 at the tune from going 1,200 to 3,000. When this thing broke the 18 like this, you can see how fun it would have been to buy, have it go all the way down here. If you held, though, it would have been fun because you would have got your profit. So risk-reward situation. Right here, on this area here, is 100% gain from here to here. So it's an interesting play if you're trying to find ways of timing the ones that quote-unquote pump and dump, or at least just pump for that matter, because if you're putting sell orders while it's rising, it doesn't matter what happens after you sell. I've thought about just finding different ways of possibly, when you see them like this, just go long, try to sell like a day or 2 or 3 later, and you get your profits. But I'm not going to do it. But I think it, and I think this might be one of the times. And if you see some little bit of a pullback, it's a risk. But also, when you take a look at the just general strategy of buying low and selling high, it's always good, of course, to buy when price action is low, at or below the 18 average. So buying spots in here, selling spots up here. Buying spot, selling spot. Everything in here is a buying spot. Everything up here is a selling spot. Everything in here is, especially below the 18 average and well below, is a selling spot. Or buying spot, rather. However, within this downtrend, selling in this 18 average upper end was definitely formidable, which meant selling here was formidable. But now it's in sell opportunities. So when you look at these codes, I think one of the best situations to do is to identify that they have big rises, they have big falls, and it brings a lot of high risk situation when you are buying things when they are overextended, like such is the case from this 18 average. So then I asked the question with OK Cash on its daily time frame. It's well above its 18 average too. Is it a good buying spot? I think it is, actually. I'm not going to because I already did. I bought a lot at around the 5,000 handle, thankfully, and 4,700. But I look at the technical analysis for something like this. Market goes up to this high. Okay, just regular technical analysis, not the buy low, sell high. Comes back down to its correctionary phase, but this statement came into play, especially after its day after that. It was ready to make a nice little run higher. Okay, go ahead, do your thing. You do what you said. Oh, you just made a move to previous high. Pierce above, but a move to previous high. And now consolidating for a little bit within there. Not as overextended. It really wasn't all that overextended before. But what's the net result going to happen on a break? Because What have we seen before in the past? What happened here? Straight up. I got other time frames to show even more. And I'll use a 2-dayer for this. But last summer, last June, breaks out at about 15, 14, even 1200 satoshi. An immediate pop up to like 3,500, approximate 3,400. Pulls back. And then after congesting with that area, big rise. So I think as this pattern plays out, it wouldn't surprise me if it's going to be within the next few days that this thing makes another test of this 20,000 level. What would be strong is it for it to be able to settle and either break it or hold it. And what does holding mean? Holding means above a key area. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Better resistance here, and where we stand. I really need to see this hold and stay above 7,000 for a decent amount of time, where the 18 average is going sideways somewhere around here on any pullback. That's what will become really, really important. And then if this does break this 20K number, 50, 60, 75, 100, there can be some sick moves that are allocatable within these types of codes. Now, when you're in position with a lot of tokens, and in this case I have a good position, then basically you want to sell all over the place and be ready for the big gains. I think that's what I'm doing. I mean, literally just sell anywhere like this. There's nothing wrong with stuff like that. But realize that this key resistance is pretty big. So there's nothing wrong with having a decent amount of sells, and definitely having sells just before that high. So 19,900 and something, 19,700 and something are totally the numbers I like to choose for this. But as I talked about those larger numbers, 50, 60, 75, 100,000, there's nothing wrong with having sell orders in place. But when you talk about having a sell order come in here, that allocates you to buy back if you're selling at, say, around 9,900 at 75. And if you sell at, say, 11.5, you can buy that back at around 8,500. This 13,000 can be bought back around 10, maybe 85. This 15 can be bought back at 9. And quite frankly, everything that I sell up here, I don't want to buy anything really until about 10,000. I don't see why I would want to put any buy order north of that level until I can have a sustained breakout above this high. And we look back at the previous buy and sell opportunities. This is a gold mine to be able to have a move come up here and then back like this. Then do it again. A very small profit here, not much, maybe nothing at all depending on where you're playing. But then to come up here, come down to this low, back up to this high the next day, fill a whole bunch of buy gaps in here, fill a whole bunch of sell gaps in here, fill a whole bunch of buy gaps in here, fill a sell gap, fill a buy gap, fill some sell gaps, and in here you can fill more sell gaps. Okay, that is the basis towards it. But when I look at the types of strategies that do well, it's the ones that go way up and way down that becomes the most profitable. And given that we're close to 20 minutes, it's now a conclusionary time. So thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day.